A UNC trustee is calling for required active shooter training after 2 incidents on campus this semester. We spoke with a security expert about the unique challenges of securing a college campus.
Fuquay Arena is the only town to say no to building new parks. Hear why voters defeated a $60 million parks bond referendum and why that's so rare in North Carolina.
This front is on its way to drop our warm temperatures. I'll time it out and give you a first look at new high-res models for rain.
Right now, UNC Chapel Hill leaders are working on ways to improve campus security, ultimately keeping students safer while they learn. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ashley Rowe.
And I'm Dan Haggerty. This discussion comes now a little more than 2 months since a professor was shot and killed on campus. Now, one trustee believes that students and staff should be required to do training focused on what to do in an active shooter situation. WRAL's Monica Casey spoke with a security expert about the unique challenges of securing a university campus that size and the best practices for the people who live and learn there.
Trustee David Bullock says UNC is taking steps toward more security with locks on classroom doors, more cameras, and possible license plate readers on campus. He believes mandatory active shooter training is another important option. While information about active threats can be found online, one UNC trustee believes the plans should be more direct.
And it should be something that is pushed forward as opposed to just there for someone to see if they want to see it.
David Bullock says while he believes the public safety team handled 2 lockdowns this semester correctly, more can be done to improve.
Any student or any faculty member who feels like they don't have enough information or that they don't feel fully prepared, we want to address that. We want to say, hey, okay, we hear you and we want to provide this and make it a requirement.
Seth DeSanto has years of experience in law enforcement and he's now the COO of Lockdown International. He emphasizes an active threat response plan has to be much more than a checklist and everyone should be informed.
We teach the ABCs of active threat response, which stands for avoid, barricade, counter, and survive. And there are 4 portions of the options that you have available to you based upon your environment and the threat that you're facing.
DeSanto says an in-person training is the best practice so that participants can have questions answered.
So I would strongly encourage people to vet the source of your training and ensure that what you are being told sounds at least to be accurate.
In Chapel Hill, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
Committees for the Board of Trustees met today. The full board meets again tomorrow. Now, this item is not on the agenda, but Bullock says that he expects it will come up after the full debrief of those 2 lockdowns is complete.
Only on WRAL, the father of one of the Robeson County deputies shot in the line of duty yesterday is demanding answers. This is Kalen Locklear. He's one of the 2 deputies who were hurt. His dad, Desmond Locklear, says the man accused of shooting his son should have never been released from jail. The suspect had been released on bond while facing multiple charges, including first-degree murder. The deputies were attempting to serve a warrant when they were shot. Desmond Locklear says the judge who allowed the suspect to be released needs to be held responsible.
This is mine and his mother's biggest fear. This is any parent's biggest fear because being a deputy sheriff, it's a hard job. But when you are put in a situation that people at a higher level makes the job harder than it could be, that's where the anger comes in.
You can hear what Angelica McIntyre, Judge McIntyre, said about this case by visiting WRAL.com. Both deputies are recovering at Cape Fear Valley Medical Center. The suspect, Sean Locklear, is still in the hospital at UNC Medical Center.
New tonight, a grieving mother wants answers in her son's murder. Authorities still trying to figure out who killed Patrick McNeil. Someone shot the father of 2 Saturday near Cary. WRAL's Julian Gray spoke with family members trying to make sense of what's happened.
Little has been said about the man shot and killed here right in front of his own home just off of Holly Springs Road.
God is the only, because that's my faith is the only thing I can rely on.
Today we learned more about him. His name is Patrick McNeil.
My son, and he was to me, like any young boy, he had his faults, but he was not a bad person.
McNeil has a fiance, children, and a family that will never be the same.
the love that he had for his children. Anything his kids wanted, anything they needed, he was there. He made sure the kids were taken care of.
McNeil turned 35 last Tuesday. He was going to celebrate with his fiancée 4 days later. Saturday
Evening, we were supposed to go out to eat, me, him, and the kids for his birthday. And he told me that he would call me when he got back home. So he sent me a text at 7:38, and I responded back at 8 o'clock, and he never responded.
He never responded because investigators were at his home trying to figure out who fatally shot the 35-year-old father.
Just how hard this is going to be without him. This is going to be so hard without him. And it just hurts so bad that this happened.
The Wake County Sheriff's Office is leading the investigation, and they believe McNeil may have been targeted. But right now, they don't know who pulled the trigger.
This was a senseless crime. I don't know anything about what happened. I don't know what could have led up to this or anything, but I know it was senseless.
Reporting in Wake County, Julian Grace, WRAL News.
A Wake Forest orthodontist and a Youngsville gun club are teaming up to offer you a free gun if you sign up for Invisalign. A viewer reached out to WRAL about this, wondering if and how a deal like this could be legal. An attorney tells WRAL this is legal. The most important thing is making sure the customer can legally own a gun. Certain customers would have the choice of membership at the Youngsville Gun Club and Range or a free Glock 19, which retails for more than $500. The orthodontist says the promotion was initially only sent to people on the gun club's email list. The gun shop owner says recipients will need to come into the store to actually get the gun, and not just anyone is eligible.
They have to be 21 and older, and then we do a background check here on site.
Great. They're going to follow the rules in North Carolina, but North Carolina doesn't have very good rules in the first place.
Lieberman says he will be highly recommending that the recipients take a training class, but it will not be required.
All right, let's take a live look outside. This is North Hills, looking pretty tonight, pretty clear out there. We hit 80 degrees today, not typical for this time of year. Again, same story tomorrow. Meteorologist Kat Campbell in the Severe Weather Center. So how long is this warm weather going to last?
You got one more day tomorrow, Dan, and then temperatures come tumbling down. We did hit the 80s today in Fayetteville. We were 1 degree shy of the record at RDU, but we've got another shot at a record tomorrow. We are forecasting 83. That would tie the previous record of 83 set back in 2005 at RDU. 84 is our forecast high in Fayetteville, even 82 degrees in Roxborough tomorrow. Partly cloudy skies will develop tomorrow ahead of a cold front, and that cold front is set to move in early on Friday. Friday's highs in the mid-60s, but check out the 3 days after that. High temperatures will only be in the mid to upper 50s, taking on a different look and feel for the weekend. I'll have a closer look at how your weekend is shaping up and the change we're noticing coming up.
Sounds good. Talk to you then. Thanks, Kat.
It's rare for voters in North Carolina to reject a bond referendum, even when it means raising their own taxes to pay for new projects. But that's exactly what voters in Fuquay-Varina did on Election Day yesterday. 59% of voters in the town said no to a $60 million parks bond. It would have paid to build ball fields, pickleball courts, and parking at Hilltop Needmore Park and Preserve. Upgrades to the community center and a new park, indoor sports complex, and greenway were also part of this bond. WRAL's Matt Tallhelm finds out what's next for these projects.
But you guys all pitched in on this. In your own way.
Celebrating an Election Day win is still a shock to Elizabeth Stryker.
When we formed this little grassroots operation, none of us thought that we were going to win.
They're working to protect green space at Hilltop Needmore Park and Preserve. They rallied voters to say no to a bond referendum they say would have cost the preserve its peace.
Once the baseball fields and parking lots started coming up, and it wasn't one or two parking lots, it was multiple parking lots, I think everybody started to worry.
And then there's the cost in higher taxes, about $224 more a year for the typical homeowner.
When you start adding it up, this is a lot of money. This is a tough economy. Housing affordability is an issue. We had this in our own family. it doesn't seem pragmatic.
But that's not the typical response to a referendum on the ballot.
It's rare for a bond referendum not to succeed.
Connor Cruz analyzed the success rate of bond referendums during his time on the faculty at UNC School of Government. He found over a decade of elections across the state, voters approved 202 of 213 bond referendums, or 95%. They rejected just 6 of 43 parks bonds.
It might be a common sense for a voter to think about a potential increase in their property taxes that would go to pay debt service on the bonds, or just opposition to the project.
You're going to pump your legs?
Leslie Ahrens brings her granddaughter to the park near her preschool.
I'm not happy about it. We enjoy a lot of the parks in Fuquay area.
She couldn't vote in the referendum since she lives outside town limits, but she hopes Fuquay Arena can find a way to add to its parks despite the defeat at the polls.
Why would you vote down an educational, exercise, healthy situation?
Matt Tallhelm, WRAL News, Fuquay Arena.
The town says it will work over the coming months to figure out what's next for the parks project. In a statement, the town says, "We understand that there is a strong desire for these projects in our community, and we are committed to finding a way to advance while minimizing the impact on our citizens' wallets."
A drug manufactured in the Triangle that was originally developed to treat diabetes is now approved for weight loss. The FDA approved Mounjaro today. It's similar to Ozempic, a drug that has become very popular for its weight loss effects. Eli Lilly produces the drug at its plant in Durham. The facility's been running 24/7 to keep up with demand. They are pouring $4 billion into the plant and building another one just a few hours south.
Pet owners will want to stick around for this story. Some popular dog food is being recalled over concerns they could make your pup sick. What you need to know coming up. Plus, an inside look at Duke Energy's new state-of-the-art control center that's expected to help prevent blackouts at your home.
The EPA has asked Chemours to pause shipments of foreign waste containment containing Gen X, I should say. This is in response to concerns from Governor Roy Cooper and Brunswick County. In October, the EPA approved Chemours' request to ship more than 4 million pounds of foreign waste containing forever chemicals from the Netherlands to Fayetteville. Chemours said the company would recycle and reuse this Gen X, but it's unclear what the local contamination would be. Exposure to forever chemicals has been linked to adverse health risks, including cancer.
Some sad news from our coast. The marine scientists with NC State say an 11-foot whale found dead in Emerald Isle died from swallowing a balloon. The Gervais-beaked whale had a crumpled up plastic balloon obstructing its gastrointestinal tract. An exam also showed the whale was likely nursing a calf when she died. Beaked whales are large, deep-diving mammals. Live sightings are rare because they live at the continental shelf and beyond. Dog owners, listen to this. You will want to check your pet's food. 3 popular brands are recalling products due to potential salmonella. 5 on your side's Keely Arthur explains what you need to know.
We are talking about 3 separate recalls in just the last month, so let's get right to them. First, Blue Ridge Beef recalled packages of Breeder's Choice dog food. Next, TFP Nutrition recalled bags of its Retriever All Life Stages Mini Chuck recipe. And the latest recall is for Victor Supreme Dog Food Select Beef Meal and Brown Rice Formula after random samplings found salmonella. The bacteria can sicken pets and lead to hospitalizations. We put the lot numbers for you to check up on our website. And if you have this food, wipe down any surfaces it may have touched. Owners should dispose of it in a safe manner where pets and wildlife cannot come into contact with it. Keely Arthur, 5 on your side.
Keely, thank you. 5 on your side tracks these recalls constantly and posts more detail about important warnings and how to get refunds or replacements for defective items on WRAL.com. All you have to do is search recall.
Duke Energy is launching a new energy center to accommodate the state's growing energy needs. This new control center is part of a multi-year effort to modernize. This facility in Garner is the 7th and last one to open. Duke will transition away from coal entirely by 2035. So it's using multiple energy sources, nuclear, natural gas, solar, and so on. The utilities spokesman says this will also help prevent rolling blackouts like North Carolina saw last Christmas Eve.
We've made a lot of improvements, not only with our own data, but also with other utility data to help make that forecast more accurate. On top of that, as we add more generation resources, our goal is to make sure that we can maintain that reliability.
This new facility will be officially online on Friday.
RDU Airport is seeing a record number of passengers and busy parking lots. In anticipation of the holidays, officials are asking you to pre-book parking in advance at parkrdu.com. Last year, RDU reported a record number of passengers Thanksgiving weekend. We got to talk about this weather. You know, just a beautiful day today, Kat. I just wanted to spend all day outside, but it was notable that my plants have not been getting a whole lot of natural water.
And unfortunately, I mean, we just don't have a good soaking rain in the forecast. So I want to bring this up right away because I know a lot of people are going to be excited to see a raindrop icon on the forecast for Friday. Unfortunately, this is not the rain that you were hoping for. This is just a few light sprinkles. Would be very low impact and very light, likely less than a quarter of an inch of rain, or less than a tenth of an inch, I should say. I mean, just adding up to a trace. Only a 30% chance midday through the early afternoon hours Friday. But the other big story that's coming from the cold front is the much cooler air. We are saying goodbye to the 80s starting Friday. Temperatures should actually top out midday around lunchtime, and then we'll see them fall through the afternoon and evening hours. We typically see our high 3-4 o'clock. So we'll see it early on Friday as this cold front passes through pretty early in the day, and then the upper level energy will swing in from the west, and that's what brings the chance of a few of those sprinkles. For Futurecast tomorrow, I expect that we'll stay dry, partly cloudy, a nice warming southwest wind. Warm weather lovers, make the most of tomorrow. 83 degrees would tie the record, and then after that, temperatures are going to come crashing down. The cold front, as I mentioned, passes pretty early on, so it's already passed by Friday morning. Takes a little time for the cooler air to move in, though, and the upper level energy moving west to east is what would bring just some of those quick sprinkles to the area on Friday. But there is hope for those of you who need some rain. So let's talk about the new trend we're noticing for the weekend. We're going to watch wherever this front stalls because that's the highway where areas of low pressure can ride right along it. So if it stalls a little farther to the north, we could see any areas of low pressure that develop in the Gulf of Mexico potentially track a little closer to us. And that's what the European model is showing for Sunday. So that bears watching on Sunday. The ensemble's in agreement on it as well, but the American model not on board yet. So Mike Mays will have an update once he looks over the new model data tonight at 10 and 11. Right now, it looks like Friday and Sunday would be our chances for rain. Stays cloudy regardless this weekend. Mostly cloudy and much cooler. 58 Saturday, 56 on Sunday. We'll be watching Sunday closely to see if we could see any decent rain from that. If you look outside tonight and you're driving on Western Boulevard, check out the WRAL tower. It is lit up in blue. Clear skies in the forecast tomorrow. It is our last warm day of the stretch. 53 around 7 a.m. By lunchtime, we are already up to 79 degrees. Low to mid 80s tomorrow, and then comes the temperature tumble. No more 80s after tomorrow. You'll see temperatures falling into the 50s for the weekend and early next week. And then once we get to next week, we should be back in the mid 60s, right on par with our normal high this time of year. We go straight from above normal to below normal, but finally a little bit of normal mixed in there.
All right, that's not too bad. Thank you, Kat.
So there's a new spectacle coming to Dix Park. We're talking about 73-foot sunflowers, and these ones will be year-round. Transitioning from military to civilian life and work can be pretty difficult. It can be a challenge for a lot of service members.
State officials hosted a roundtable discussion on the topic in Fayetteville today. Veterans and small business owners also joined in the conversation. Governor Roy Cooper said the military is important to the state, both active duty and beyond. More than 16,000 veterans received help from one of the state's career centers last year. The event was part of North Carolina's Employ a Veteran Week. A Raleigh restaurant is up for a special honor, and you can vote to get them to win.
A Place at the Table is nominated for the Good Neighbor of the Year award on the Kelly Clarkson Show. They were featured on that show yesterday, if you're a viewer. You may remember the restaurant's owner, Maggie Kane, appeared on the show earlier this year. Voting started on the show's Instagram story, and voting will be open for the next few days. So if you want to support them, hop on and give them a vote.
That's awesome.
So soon you won't need to wait until July to see the sunflowers at Dix Park.
This is kind of neat. That's because 2 power poles in Dix Park are getting a makeover. The Dix Park Conservancy is working with Duke Energy to create these massive steel sunflowers. The poles will feature 47 steel petals. The power poles are on the east side of Dix Park on Lake Wheeler Road. Raleigh-based artist Thomas Sayer is working on the design. Private donations will pay for the $2.5 million cost of these new poles.
Kind of cool looking.
Yeah. We are weeks away from the debut of this Woolies Wonderland at the DBAP. This is a look at how things are shaping up. We've got the lights. It's not lit up right now, but the igloos are in place too.
I know, it's really, when it's all lit up, this camera is pretty cool, and soon we'll be able to see it in person. You can see the lights transforming the ballpark. That's already underway. Tickets are going fast for some of the attractions like Bulls Express Train, especially on weekends, so get on and check those timings out right now. Woolies Winter Wonderland kicks off November 22nd. You can go to durhambulls.com to buy tickets. So we're about 30 minutes away or so. 5 top candidates for the GOP nomination for president will take the debate stage now for the 3rd time.
You're taking a live look at Adrian Arsh Center for the Performing Arts of Miami-Dade County, where the debate will take place. Chris Christie, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Tim Scott will participate in tonight's debate in Miami, hosted by NBC News. Former President Donald Trump will once again be absent from the stage. NBC Nightly News anchor Lester Holt and Meet the Press host Kristen Welker will moderate, along with Hugh Hewitt from the Salem Radio Network. You can watch that debate live right here on WRAL starting at 8 o'clock. And don't forget to join us for our late news at 10 on Fox 50 and 11 on WRAL.
You're going to hear from a local doctor and pharmacist about some of the safety concerns surrounding a new weight loss drug made here in the Triangle. Thank you so much for making WRAL your choice for local news.
Have a great night.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.